The New England Business Group presents It's All About Business. Our presentation today is The Marketing Concept, Assessing the Marketability of Your Business Idea, Part 2. I'm Larry Gable, President and CEO of the New England Business Group, and I will be your presenter today. Welcome to the fourth presentation in the New England Business Group's Pre-Startup series. This session will introduce assessing the marketability of your business idea, while the entire 7-presentation series will help you evaluate your business opportunities so that you can reach a go, no-go decision. As we move through the pre-startup process, it is time to focus on the customer and the customer's needs. The marketing concept is the philosophy that firms should analyze the needs of their customers and then make decisions to satisfy those needs better than the competition. It holds that the key to achieving organizational goals consists of the company being more effective than competitors in creating, delivering, and communicating customer value to its selected target customers. The marketing concept relies upon market research to define market segments, their size, and their needs. To satisfy those needs, you must make decisions about the controllable parameters of your marketing mix. The organization's success is directly correlated to what the customer wants and how much they are willing to pay. The marketing concept, then, is benefit-oriented and rests upon the 4 pillars of the target market, the customer need, integrated marketing, and profitability. The New England Business Group has crafted the pre-startup process to help the entrepreneur organize thoughts and prioritize activities in order to optimize the idea development and research processes leading to the go, no-go decision based on market research. The result is an informed decision process that is geared to the realities of the marketplace. The net effect for the entrepreneur is to have acquired an enhanced information set upon which to build a business plan. The work and effort invested in the business research and analysis is not wasted, but rather immediately useful in the development of the business plan. The market concept module is the 4th of 7 modules. It's designed to help the entrepreneur focus on the customer and the needs of the customer. It provides guidance regarding market analysis, sizing the market opportunity, understanding the marketing mix, choosing channels, and gaining a basic understanding of pricing theory, all of which are necessary for the generation of your financial projections. Always drink upstream of the herd, a quote by Will Rogers. A marketing channel, also called a distribution channel, is a set of practices or activities necessary to transfer goods or services from the point of production or origination to the point of consumption. It is the way products and services get to the end user, the consumer. A marketing channel is a useful tool for management and is crucial to creating an effective, well-planned marketing strategy. Marketing channels, then, are important components of marketing strategy because they link producers to consumers. They influence pricing strategy and affect product strategy through product policies and branding. So channel design is a dynamic process of developing new channels where none exist and or modifying existing channels. A going business usually deals with modification of existing channels, although new products or services and customer segments may require entirely new channels. Channel design is best conceptualized as a series of stages that the business must complete to be sure that all important channel decisions have been evaluated. The result of the process is to specify the structure that provides the highest probability of achieving your firm's objectives. Channel structure refers to the underlying framework, the number of channel levels, the number and types of intermediaries, and the links among the channel members. So if we look at the stages of design, the first is identify the channel alternatives. That is, you want to figure out who has and which channels have the desired intensity of distribution and access to the end user, as well as what their prevailing distribution practices are. Next, you want to evaluate and select the channels that you want to use. So there you have to do the revenue cost analysis, you have to look at the time horizon for developing the channel, and then other control considerations and any legal constraints that may be involved. And finally, you want to check the selection of channel participants. That is, the participants are going to have market coverage capability, and they will have needs as well as the functions that they provide, and also their availability. So the basic three-step process, as you move through it, then you can construct the channels that you need to get your product or service to the marketplace. So let's look briefly at some advertising media. Now, the first is television. We have large audiences. It's visual, it's audio capable, provides great flexibility in getting attention, relatively short lead times to get an ad in place. Some of the disadvantages are it's not easy to reach a specific market. The total cost is high relative to other media, and it does require production specialties and relatively short exposure times. The next media to look at is magazines and journals. The reach of an issue is high for demographics and geographic segments. You have high quality production, ads last as long as the magazine or the journal is kept, and issues are often read by more than one person, so you do have a lot of exposure there. And then, of course, the credibility of the publication can affect the ad. Some disadvantages are it must be placed well in advance of the publication dates, and it does provide limited flexibility in gaining attention, and you do have incomplete control over the location of the ad in the particular issue. Next is outdoor advertising. Some advantages are it's relatively inexpensive and you do get great exposure. Some disadvantages are that it's a limited message is possible because of the display space, and you can't reach a well-defined target market. Then radio is audio capable. It's low cost relative to the cost of other media. Can be done in short lead times. You can reach a demographic and geographic segments that are related to the particular radio channel that you're using. And it can reach large audiences, and audiences also in cars. A disadvantage of radio is there's no visual capability, and it does have just a short exposure time with little or no flexibility in gaining attention. Then there's newspapers, where you can reach a large audience or segment by locale, and you can do it in a relatively short lead time that it takes to place an ad, and the credibility of the paper can also benefit the ad. A disadvantage then may be that the ads are relatively expensive and they provide little flexibility for the use of creativity, that is limited production quality, color, and such as that, plus a short life that's carried by the ad is limited to the life of the newspaper. Then there's direct mail. An advantage of direct mail is it provides great flexibility in reaching the target market. There's no clutter from other competing ads, and it's easy to personalize and copy a particular ad layout. A disadvantage is that it's easy to throw away junk mail, and obtaining a suitable mailing list can be very expensive. And then there's the media, the internet. The advantages of the internet is its vast reach, low cost, and the targetability that enable you to reach more consumers in the most cost-efficient manner. A disadvantage is that logos, images, trademarks All these can be copied and used for commercial purposes, and advertising has introduced a lot of ad clutter onto the web. So let's talk about some pricing strategies. Pricing is a topic central to a company's profitability. Therefore, pricing decisions are a crucial component of a company's success. Pricing is commonly confused with the notion of cost of production, but technically, these are very different concepts. Price is what a buyer pays to acquire the product from a seller. The cost of production concerns the seller's investment, i.e. manufacturing expenses, in the product being exchanged with the buyer. For marketing organizations seeking to make a profit, the hope is that the price will exceed the cost of production so that the organization can see a financial gain from the transaction. Economic theory asserts that in a free market economy, the market price reflects interaction between supply and demand. The price is set so as to equate the quantity being supplied and that being demanded. In turn, these quantities are determined by the marginal utility of the asset to different buyers and different sellers. In reality, the price may be distorted by other factors, such as tax and other government regulations. When a commodity is for sale at multiple locations, the law of one price is generally believed to hold. This essentially states that the cost difference between locations should not be greater than that represented by shipping, taxes, and other distribution costs. In the case of the majority of consumer goods and services, however, distribution costs are a high portion of the overall price, so the idea of one price may not hold universally. So pricing is the one element in the marketing mix that brings in revenues. All the rest are costs. Price communicates the value position of the product. Each price will lead to a different level of demand. We have a different and each will have a different impact on the company's marketing objectives. Demand and price are inversely related. That is, the higher the price, the lower the demand. So in pricing, the entrepreneur needs to consider price sensitivity. That is, the degree to which the price of a product affects the consumer's purchasing behaviors. And secondly, the price elasticity of demand, which is a measure of the relationship between a change in the quantity demanded of a particular good and a change in its price. So inelastic demand says there is little or no change in demand with a change in price, and elastic elasticity then says there's a significant change in demand with a change in price. So here are some pricing theory objectives and policy ideas. The pricing objectives, there are quite a number. This is an abbreviated list, but one that we see frequently. Objectives, first is survival. Next is maximize current profit, or next maximize market share and maximize market skimming. And then product quality leadership is another pricing objectives. So for pricing policy, then we want to select the pricing objective, determine demand, estimate costs, analyze competitors, their costs, prices, and offers, select the pricing method, and finally select the final price. So let's look at some pricing objectives. Survival-oriented. Prices are flexible. A company can lower them in order to increase sales enough to keep the business going. The company uses a survival-based price objective when it's willing to accept short-term losses for the sake of long-term viability. So survival is closely linked to new product development, profits, sales, market share, and image. Then there's profit-oriented pricing objectives. Profit maximization, for instance, is setting prices so that the total revenue is as large as possible relative to total costs. The next objective would be satisfactory profits, that is, a reasonable level of profit for shareholders and management. And another possibility is to target a return on investment, or ROI, which measures management's effectiveness in generating profits with available assets, that is, the net profit after tax divided by total assets. Then there are sales-oriented pricing objectives, that is, market share, for instance, a company's product sales as a percentage of total sales for the industry. Note, however, that a large market share doesn't always equate to large profits. Then the next is sales maximization. The firm ignores profits, competition, and the environment as long as sales are rising. Used when strapped for funds and need to generate maximum cash in the short run. Examples are selling excess inventory at discount, i.e. post-holiday season, or selling old model cars at year end. Then there's the market skimming-oriented pricing objective, where a firm sets a relatively high price for a product or service at first, then lowers the price over time. The objective is to capture the consumer surplus. A firm charges the highest initial price that customers will pay. Then the firm lowers the price to attract another, more price-sensitive segment. The goal is to recover sunk costs quickly before competition steps in and lowers the market price. Product quality leadership. Companies that produce high-quality products relative to the competition often try to position themselves as the product quality leader. They charge more, but convince the customer that it's worth it because of the superior product experience, reliability, or other quality-related benefits. Price-sensitive customers need to be convinced that the higher price is worth it in the long run. The main point is that using price as a strategic tool is better than simply letting costs determine price. If your product is superior to the competition, you'll be more profitable if you convey that to the market and charge a higher price. Then there's the status quo pricing, which merely seeks to maintain existing prices or to meet competition's prices. And this requires relatively minimal planning and often occurs with a firm that is competing in an industry with an established price leader. So let's look at it all together. There is no single recipe to determine pricing. The sequence of steps presented is a general sequence of steps that may be followed for developing pricing and revenues for a new product or service. The steps are interrelated and they are not necessarily performed in the order presented. Nonetheless, the steps serve as a starting framework. First is to develop your marketing strategy. That's where you do your analysis and target marketing and positioning. Then you make your market mix decisions, that is, you define your product, your distribution, and your promotional tactics. You estimate the demand curve, that is, understand how the quantity demanded varies with price. You calculate your costs, include all fixed and variable costs associated with the product. Understand the environmental factors, that is, evaluate your likely competitors' actions, understand legal constraints, etc. Then you set your pricing objectives, i.e. as a profit maximization, revenue maximization, price stabilization, etc. Then determine your pricing and revenues. You select your pricing method, develop the pricing structures and discounts, calculate revenue based on price selected and estimated demand, and then move to the next step in the pre-startup process. All right, questions and answers. Do we have some questions from our studio audience? Here is a question. Is there a downside to the marketing concept? Wow, all right. Let me say this about that. It's not a philosophy. It is not a philosophy of customer satisfaction. It is a philosophy of competition. It is designed to create a monopoly-like situation, at least in the mind of the customer, and to avoid direct competition. In the absence of competition, the marketing concept is designed to maximize monopoly profit. The focus of the marketing concept is the customer's wants, not society's needs. So the marketing concept is very much based upon being better than the competition. We have completed step 4 of a 7-step process. Note that this series can be used for one or multiple ideas. Please be with us for our next session, that is financial projections, when we will answer the question, how do I estimate sales and revenues in a new business?